the circle is a very important thing for humanity. You know, we've done it for many, many thousands of years, is sit in a circle and deal with stuff. And so just the shape of it makes a difference. So I appreciate you guys doing that. We're going to talk about emotional resilience today. And in particular, 4 main qualities that emotionally resilient people demonstrate. But what we're talking about, it's not easy, right? And it's difficult to talk about things like this. Homes are particularly important things for a human, right? A house or a shelter is one of the fundamental necessities of humans. And so when they're affected, it's a big deal, right? And even if you haven't lost your home, you might know someone that has, but even if you don't, you've experienced tragedy, right? You've been through something. And so this discussion can help whatever tragedy it is, or to help someone go through it. So the way I want to do it is to have some discussion, but also do some practical stuff, if that's okay. Yeah? These resilience isn't something you're born with, right? It can be developed. And so that's what a lot of these people who research this have seen, that it's something that can be developed. And so we're going to talk about some of those steps so we can develop it and we can help someone kind of who needs that resilience to do it. What they find is when we're in tragedy is that what we need most is hope, you know? And that hope, it's in situations like this, there's a unique aspect. It's that we're going through it collectively, right? It's not like something happened to someone and it's their individual experience. We're all going through it. You know, we all have a direct or indirect experience with it, but we're all in it. So it produces a unique outcome, which is creating unity. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen or experienced or be involved in what's happening. The energy in Los Angeles right now is very much people stepping up to help. You know, we were doing a food drive here a few days ago, and the shelters couldn't take any more food. So many people were trying to help and donate and give it, which is a really beautiful thing. And so that's a very unique aspect about tragedies like this. My background for the last 10 years, I've been living with different indigenous cultures around the world. And so a lot of what I do, I tap into teachings that they've brought to me. So this circle is one of them. There's something I'd like to start with, which is sending positive energy out in the form of a prayer or whatever you'd like to call it. Because it does a couple of things. The main thing is it affects us neurologically when we do that. Okay? So I'd like to just start with that. So if you can close your eyes, do it. If not, that's totally fine. And we're just going to spend a moment and just think from your heart center, or whatever that is to you, and just intentionally think about sending care, sending love to anyone who's affected. Please bring blessings to everyone in this room. Please bring them safety and security. Please bring blessings to every loved one, every family member of the people in this room. Please send blessings to everyone who's affected by these fires, or beings, or animals, or plants, everything. And just open your heart to this as we're talking through it. And please send blessings to all beings on the planet. Oh. Okay. You can open your eyes. Okay, so like I said, there's 4 main things that resilient people demonstrate. The first one is understanding that shitty things happen, right? The first part of resilience is accepting where we're at, right? And this resilient people, they know that shitty things happen, and the one very important thing is that they name it, because when it's something unnamed, it's out there and it's not tangible. So identifying it is really, really important. Acknowledging it and starting from the acceptance of it. And accepting what you can't change and getting into action with what you can change. And understanding that distinction. We need to clear things, to get things out, like I said, to acknowledge. What's really important about people moving through difficult times is that they're empowered to be active participants in their grief. It's not about anyone telling anyone how to do it, right? It's empowering some to be, hey, I'm in this situation, and I might need support, but I'm in it. What that does, it changes the dynamic. There's not something happening to you. There still is something, but you are in it now. And it's not that there's this big thing crushing you. You get to stand up in equal to it and go, it's not going to crush me. Even if it's a life diverging moment, right? There was a life before and there's a life after, right? We want to start to build, and sometimes it takes time to get that empowerment to just be in it. I'm here, this is what's going on, okay? So that's the first one. Shitty things happen in life, right? It's just part of life, right? They're gonna happen. The second part is permeability, right? Humans are emotional animals, right? It's part of the human experience. There's no way not to be emotional, right? Emotions are critically important for the species, right? A lot of us try and avoid our emotions, right? Has anyone got into like a cold plunge or seen someone get into a cold plunge? What do people do when they get in cold water? Whew. They brace, or they fucking try and wiggle around, right? They're trying to get away from their nervous system. It's not possible, right? So we have that with emotions too. So we block them, or we try and hide them, and so we don't let them flow, right? If there was a loud crash, right, and something came through the wall right there, how quickly would it take your body to release adrenaline? Fraction of a second, yeah? Emotions can also go that quickly, yeah? But we hold on to them. So permeability is not acknowledging the emotions, it's not holding on to them. It's fully experiencing them and allowing them to go on, right? In our society now, we have like the social media, like Instagram, and there's all these shiny, happy people, right, on Instagram. And it affects us, that. There's a lack of authenticity, right? And people saying, hey, yeah, I went on vacation and yeah, I can take a picture. The hotel room was really nice, but the pool was terrible, right? Or I don't like being here. I'm so sad in this beautiful place. Whatever it is, that's authenticity, right? And so we need to be able to express and feel and be emotional animals without jumping in and swimming around for our life in the emotion, right? We got to allow it to flow, yeah? So the non-resistance as resilience. So non-resistance as resilience is just that. So I'm feeling an emotion. I might feel sad. I might feel anxious. I might feel whatever. I'm not going to resist it. I'm going to be okay feeling it. Like when I get in the cold plunge, I'm going to be okay being cold for a few minutes, right? That's just what's happening. And so allowing that to flow through us. The third part, so we got, I wanted you to remember this. So shitty things happen, permeability. And then benefit mining is another quality that people who are very resilient have. And what that is, it's being aware of what your mind is focusing on. We're hardwired as humans to focus on the negative, right? If we're, back in prehistoric times and we're in our cave and we come out of our cave and there's a fig tree there, and we go, oh, that's a nice fig tree, but there's a tiger, we don't want to go and grab a fig, right? We want to deal with the tiger, yeah? So we're wired for that. Now, also in our society, we're bombarded with this stuff very quickly, constantly. And so it puts us into a stress state, right? So like the example of the fig tree and the tiger, we want to deal with, if it's a threat, deal with it, right? But we don't want to dwell there. If the tiger then goes away, it's safe now we can look at the fig tree. We don't want to keep talking about the tiger that was there, right? We want to allow that to move on. So mining for good things is a very important step in resilience. The people who did this study, what they did, they had a group of people every day for 6 months write down 3 good things. In 6 months, their neurology had changed. One of the qualities of resilient people, or becoming resilient, is being selective at where your attention goes, right? Honing in on that, accepting what's happening and focusing on what you can do, right? The things you can have an effect over, right? And not dwelling on the things that you can't. This happened, it happened, right? You allow the emotion to be through you, go through you, and then you start to focus on what you need to focus on. The fourth step in resilient people is this helping or harming me? Right? And to be actively asking that in each moment, right? For example, me looking at these old photos of the thing I lost, is it helping me or harming me? Right? This can be applied to anything, any goal in life, right? I've worked in health and fitness for over 20 years, and a lot of people, had goals of weight loss or certain fitness. So you can apply it, like me eating 6 pizzas, is it contributing to my goal of fitness or not, right? And it's a very simple question, but we trick ourselves where our brains, they're amygdala driven, right? Amygdala is plus the fear center of the brain, right? It operates about 3 times faster than the cognitive part of the brain. So we're very quick at assessing for danger, but not assessing for danger, finding danger. And not just finding danger, finding what's scary to us. Right? So that's constant. So if we can ask ourselves, is what I'm doing, even what I'm thinking about, is it hurting me or harming me? One of the hardest things to do, but sometimes something that makes a very profound shift, is actually applying that to forgiveness. Is me being upset with this person hurting me or harming me? Helping me or harming me, right? I love Nelson Mandela's quote, which is, he says that having resentment towards someone is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Right? So it's very important that we take responsibility for our mind. And to understand our system, humans aren't born with owner's manuals. Right? I became very interested in human behavior, and this is what I started to study. And I started to study it from very many different aspects. Right? I studied the Western lens, neuroscience, psychology. Like I said before, I went to live with different tribes around the world and started to understand them, which often they're way more advanced than we are, especially in quantum physics. And then I've also studied Taoism and Buddhism for close to 10 years now. And so I find the intersection of these different cosmologies, these different states. everything the commonality is that it's about humans, which we are. And we have to start to understand our systems, understand how we work, and understand how we can affect ourselves, right? Like I've said, we're emotional animals. There's a hierarchy of the brain, right, which is coded for danger, right? Knowing that gives us the power to choose how we move forward in life, which is very, very critical, right? I might have gone through something and now I'm dealing with sadness or anxiety or something, right? And so I follow these steps, right? I acknowledge it, right? This is where I'm at. This is what's happening. I'm feeling an emotion. It's not forever. It's going to pass through me. I let it go. There's active things I can do to help let it go, like sharing, like being with people. You know what the fundamental fear of humans is? Most people think death. It's not death. It's the fear of being kicked out the tribe, right? If you think back to the days of when people would have duels, right? They would stand back to back and then take a few paces and turn and shoot each other. It was more important their honor, what kept them belonging to the tribe or not, than being shot, right? It might seem silly to us, but that's coded in our DNA. It's called a biogenic trait, right? There's 3 traits that make up human personalities: biogenic, sociogenic, idiogenic. Biogenic is the coding in the DNA that every single human on the planet has. No matter where you're from on the planet, you have the same coding. Things like desire for high caloric food, to bond in a tribe, to procreate, all these things that contribute positively to the survival of our species, right? So we got to start to understand how we work, you know? Our cultures are very interesting. That's a sociogenic part of it. You know, and sometimes they don't really match the coding in our DNA. You know, things like in relationships, what's critical about relationships is that there's a giving and a receiving. But it's a giving and a receiving from the perspective that you have of giving and receiving. You know, you might be being available for someone, right? And they thank you with a bottle of wine. Right? To them, they give you a gift. It was nice. But there's an energetic imbalance. You know, and it's very important to allow people to come back into right relationship, right? So if this person that gave me the bottle of wine, and I want them to show up and give me time, I want to give them the opportunity to come back into right relationship, yeah? So I have to have that conversation, go, hey, this is what I would like. This is the balance, the exchange that works for me, right? And we can be also thinking about that too. You know, if I have a buddy and every Christmas we give each other a card, right? And for many years, he gives me a card, I give him a card. And then one day he comes along and gives me a car, right? He thinks it's a very nice thing, but now what's happened? He's put me in the position of like, oh, now what do I do? Do I have to give him a car? Like, there's an imbalance, even though it was a nice gesture, right? So now we have to get back into a right relationship. And so that's very important when we're going through anything, is that one of the important things is relationship. And so making sure those relationships are in balance with what you need, yeah? I want to teach you a breath work. Usually this breath work is 45 minutes to an hour and a half. What it does, we're not going to do that. I saw everyone checking their watches. What I want to teach you is the technique, so you can go home and sometime practice it. What it does, I developed this breath work with a friend of mine. And what I found more than any other breath work that I worked with, it gets into the intelligence of the body. It takes about 15 minutes to actively be breathing this way, and then the body will take over. And something very, very interesting happens. It starts to breathe in these patterns that the body needs to release. An emotion might come out, things might happen, which is great. So this is one of the techniques that can help us move through emotion. So what it is, it's breathing sort of on like a metronome. So it's And then periodically we do fast breaths. So what we're going to do just a few minutes of that. So just sit comfortably in your chair, relax. When you do it yourselves, you'd lie down for this. It's better to lie down because sometimes we get dizzy when we do this. But just be as relaxed as you can now. Close your eyes if you can, and we're going to get that first rhythm. Really good. Keep going like that. Really good. Okay, let's try a fast one. Back to the rhythm. Keep going. What's important about this breath work is when you start this rhythm, you don't break it. Like if you take a drink of water, you do it quickly and get back into the rhythm. You go to the bathroom, you keep breathing. Because after about 10 to 15 minutes, the body takes over and you're into a subconscious state. You're doing great. Do a fast breath again. Good, and back to the rhythm. Good. Good, just another minute or so. Okay, really good, and just relax. Just let go of your breathing. Don't do anything about it. The body will breathe. Good, and just bring yourself down by letting go of the breathing. The body has an intelligence with breathing, right? And when we give it permission in that breath work style, it actually takes over. And it's really profound. I've done it, like I said, 45 minutes to 90 minutes without knowing. It feels like 10 minutes. But so try it. Give yourself time and try that. It's a really, really effective one. Okay. So the 4 things, right? Shitty things happen, right? That's just part of life. We become permeable to our emotions. Don't resist it, right? Resistance equals persistence, right? Feel the emotion, don't avoid it, but allow it to flow through you. Benefit mining, right? We're wired to look for the negative, bring yourself back to positive, even if it's just saying 3 things or writing down 3 things. And the 4th thing is this helping or harming me? Okay? Those 4 things are shown that people who have resilience, they have those qualities. And these things we can practice and become resilient through it. I want to just finish saying, change is the only constant in life. There's a quote that I love, which is, let things fall apart without going to pieces. We don't have to rebuild things exactly the way they were. We can, and that's okay. But sometimes it's okay to start brand new and to have that opportunity, right? We go through the whole human process of dealing with it, of remorse, of regret, of upset, of anger, whatever we go through it, right? But we start fresh, and we start in that beginning. One of the leading researchers in human resilience is Lucy Hone, and she has a great quote. She says, choose life. Don't lose what you have to what you've lost. Right? Don't lose what you have. What do I have? She had an incredible tragedy. Her 12-year-old daughter was killed in a car crash. But she had 2 sons that were alive. And to her, that was critically important, that she didn't lose what she has, her life, the children, to what she's lost. And we have a tendency to do that. So we get to choose life. We're humans. We're part of the hominids, right? We're part of the great apes, right? We have DNA coding, right? We have neurology. We have all these things that make us human, right? We're on a planet traveling through space at over 800 kilometers per hour, right? A long time ago, a scientist talked to me about an interesting thing, which is very appropriate now. He said that sunlight hits plants, hits trees, right? As the sunlight hits, it forces the tree to release oxygen. The energy of the sunlight is stored in the tree. When we burn, when a tree burns, the flames are sunlight being released. It's the power of the sun completing its cycle, right? It's pretty profound to think about that. That's the type of planet we're on, right? Part of human life is to go through things, right? But we get to choose how we go through it and how we come out of it. Okay. Thank you guys so much.